Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Carol and the name of my channel is My Blessed Nest. Today I'm excited to be participating in a challenge called the Look for Less Challenge. It's hosted by Yami from the Latino Next Door and Lindsay of Domer Home. I follow both of their channels and they have some awesome content. So if you've never heard of them or never watched them, you should check them out. The challenge is to take a high-end item that you can make for less on your own. There will be a playlist listed on my channel with all of those participating. So I bet you're curious what I'm going to make today. The item that I'm going to make is bathroom decor, and it's going to be a little box that I set on the back of the toilet, and I'm probably going to use mine to put toilet paper in. The one that I saw on Etsy has toilet paper as well as a canning jar with some fake flowers. Would you like to see a picture of what I'm going to make? Here's the item that I chose to make. It's on Etsy and it sells for $40 plus, and it's a bathroom organizer storage box. And I like the wording on it. It says, "Please seat yourself." Here's an overview of the supplies I'll be using today. The first item is a wooden box that my husband constructed for me out of scrap wood. I have some baggies, sandwich baggies. I like to keep my hands clean, and that's a cheap way to do it when I use my stain. These are just cheap sponge brushes. This is the wording that I've chosen to put on my box, and I printed that myself off on the computer with a font of my choice. I will be using black paint and white paint in the matte finish for both. Some blue tape that I use to tape the wording onto the box. Some stain. I chose a dark walnut. And these are my favorite tool, the very fine brushes. You will also need some artist graphite paper and a regular pencil. The first step I'm going to do is I have a wet rag, and I'm going to just gently wipe off the box to get rid of any residue before I get started with my stain. I'm only going to be staining the sides and the inside. I'm not going to bother staining the bottom, although you could if you wanted to. It's just going to be sitting on the toilet tank, so nobody's going to see it. I like to put a baggie over the hand that I'm going to be using. Give the stain a little shake. And then I just have an old rag that I don't care about ever using again. And I'm going to dip that in my stain, and then I'll just be throwing that away when I'm done. So I have the box up a little bit higher here so that you can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to stain the box. When you're staining, you want to go with the grain of the wood. Now, I will mention this is just going to be the base coat. It doesn't have to be perfect because I'm going to be putting white paint over it, and the base coat will show through a little bit and give it that old look and that textured look that I'm going for. Okay, when you're all finished, just give it a good look over and make sure you haven't missed any spots. Looks pretty good. I did miss this one corner here a little bit, so I'm going to go over that again. Right here. Okay. All right, now, here's what we have. And it's not going to look that great because of the grain of the wood, the way the stain has soaked in or not soaked in. But don't worry about that because we're going to be putting the white paint over it. This is just a base coat. This next step, I did decide that I may want to leave the inside of the box just stained. So I took an old brush that's almost finished, a sponge brush. I poured a little bit of the stain in the lid, and I'm just going to be going into the corners and giving that a little touch up with the stain. I wasn't able to get into the inside box corners with the rag very well. So once I get that in there, then I'll kind of go over it with the rag as well so it doesn't pool in there or anything. So this is optional, depends on the look you're going for, and I'm not really sure if I'm going to paint the inside of the box or not. So I'm just going over the edge too, just in case, to leave my options open. Okay, that looks really good. So I'll show you here. Okay, now the next step is I'm just going to let that dry for a little bit. Okay, now I'm ready to dry brush with some white paint. You want to make sure you use a matte paint and not a glossy paint. That'll look too fancy if you use glossy. I collect old lids for when I'm painting. You could either clean them up and use them again, or you can just toss them, whatever you want. So I'm going to put some of the white matte paint in here. And I also have some paper toweling. I'm going to dab in the paint. I'm going to kind of have to get the feel for what I'm doing. I'm going to dab on the paper towel so I have very little paint, and just kind of, we'll give it a try and see what it looks like. Okay. That's the look I'm going for. Okay, so I'm going to start dry brushing with the white paint. As you go, you can decide how much paint you want and how much of the undercoat you want to show through. You can also rub off some of the paint if you feel like you have too much, and that'll give you a little bit of a different look. I'm just taking a paper towel. Okay, I'm happy with that. Moving on to another side. kind of dab in at different points. Okay, one more side to do, and then I'll have to decide whether I want to do the inside or not. Okay, now I'm going to show you each side and kind of look at it as we go here to see if it looks even. I don't want some of it to look more white and some more brown than the other side. There's a little bit of paint here I'm not happy with the way it dried. So I'm going to rub that out a little bit. And right here at the corner, I'm going to add a little bit of white paint as well. There. Okay, I'm liking the look of that. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the edges. I think I would prefer them painted, and then the inside I will leave stained. So I'm going to go ahead and whisk a little white paint around the edges. As you can see, I didn't really like the way this looked with just the stain, so I think I will like it better with the white. So I'm going to give that a little touch around the edge. This is almost dry brushing. It's got so little paint on it. Okay. I'm very happy with the way it turned out so far. I'm going to let it dry before I put my wording on. The box has dried enough now, so I'm ready to put my lettering on. I have taped my printout. I measured it from each side and from the bottom of the letters and the top of the letters so that it's right in the center. This is a piece of my transfer paper, also called artist graphite paper. It comes on a roll. I'm assuming it comes other ways as well. This is a piece that I cut out, and I'm going to be putting it underneath my letters like that. And then I'm simply going to trace out the letters with a regular pencil. After I trace the first letter, I always check just to make sure that it's coming through, and it's coming through fine. So I'm going to go ahead and trace all these letters out. Okay, I've traced out all of the letters, and before you take your pattern off, you want to peek underneath and make sure that you got all of the letters. So as you can see, everything looks good. So I'm going to take out the graphite paper and take off the pattern, and then I'll be ready to paint in my letters. Basically what I've done is I've just traced the letters by applying pressure with the graphite onto my project. So I'm going to do the letters in black, and I've got a matte black, and I'm just going to be putting it in my little lid here. And then these are my 3 favorite brushes. I think I will try this one for this project. So just dip in the paint, and this box is a nice way to hold your hand steady, this project. And I go around and outline everything first with the paint. You could also do a black Sharpie as well, and then you just fill in the letters with the paint. There's the first letter, so I'm going to go ahead and finish those. I have decided I'm going to go ahead and outline the letters with the black Sharpie. It gives you like a border almost, where the paint kind of stays inside of, and it just makes it easier. This is just a regular fine point black Sharpie. I have to switch out to a different Sharpie and keep going back and forth because they kind of get dried up. I have all the letters outlined now with the black Sharpie, and it looks like this. So I'm going to continue painting, and I think I'm going to try a little bit finer brush. Give that a try. Yes, that's working much better. So this is a brush I'm using. It's a detail brush, a level 2, angular 12/0. Basically, I'm just filling in what I've outlined now. As you're painting, you need to make sure you don't get into the wet paint and drag it around. You'll have a real mess. All finished, and I will show you where I put it and how I put my toilet paper in it on my toilet. So let's talk budget on my project. My budget was $0. Your budget might be a little higher. My husband was able to make this box for me out of scrap wood. I already had the white and black paint on hand. But I do try to get my paints for between 50 cents and $1. And then I used an old sponge brush and threw it away when I touched up the stain. Those are very minimal cost. And my stain, you could just use any stain you had around the house. I had a sample kit of stain given to me years ago. I've been working out of. I had my paint brushes. I also had the graphite paper. So actually it cost me $0 to make. I just wanted to thank you for watching my video today. Thank you to Lindsay of Domer Home, and thank you to Yami of the Latino Next Door. Thanks for sponsoring the Look for Less challenge. I really had fun doing it. Thank you for watching my video, and I hope to see you next time. Please like and subscribe if you liked my channel. Bye-bye. Here's the finished product, you guys. I'm so excited to show you. I'm very happy with how it turned out. I just have one large roll of toilet paper in there because that's what I buy. But you could totally use the smaller and fit more in. Or you could use it for toilet paper and something else decorative. So let me know in the comments what you think of my project.